Nah, you speak beautifully, Mary.
Welcome back, everyone. So we have realised we've done so much talking today. It would be so nice to hear from everyone. So if you do have any questions, comments or reflections, please share it with us this afternoon. And like Austin said this morning, if you've kind of got that feeling, I want to share, but I don't want to unmute myself, please just do it anyway.
I've got something I'd like to share, actually.
Uda. Lula.
Yeah, it's been quite big for me this last 2 sessions, actually. Huge, actually. In fact, I had to make a note of a couple of things because I thought, oh, God, I just really want to share that. Something was said earlier that I thought, oh, I want to share that. And then something you said, Jenny, which was like, oh, completely blew me away, because what I found I'd gone into, oh, damn, sorry, I'm getting upset. Was some stuff around my family and my mum. Because recently, the reason I'm in Devon, one of the reasons I'm in Devon is because my family decided they didn't really oh God, I'm sorry. Didn't want me, so it brought up lots of stuff from my childhood. And my mum, when I was 11 and 13, she didn't want me, and so I had to go somewhere else. And I was finding it really upsetting listening and sat here. And then, in fact, I've got to look at my phone because I've lost my train of thought. But it was when you said, Jenny, when you said about you realised you were trying to change. You probably didn't say it like this, but it was something like you were trying to change the past, and it hit me so massive, because I thought, my God, I'm 51 years old and I'm still, like 40 years ago, I'm still trying to change my mum. And I saw it and I was like, oh my God, I'm still there. I'm 11 and I'm still letting it affect me. And it was like so huge. I suddenly saw it like, oh my God, that's like 40 years. Why can't I let that go? And it was like, God, it was just massive. I almost can't put it in words, because I mean, there's been lots of stuff with my kids not wanting me as well. And interestingly, my kids, I guess you'd call it, they're kind of, with my mum, did like what they call, I guess in America, an intervention, where they came round and said, basically, we think you're mentally unstable and you need to see a psychiatrist, because of me wanting to leave my job, pack my stuff in, live in my friend's spare room and write a book. And so they thought it was a bit scary for them, and yeah, we went through quite a lot, and I kind of was okay with that, but I've still been carrying this stuff about my mum, and it just suddenly feels so much lighter that I can see that I can see something, but I can't explain it. It's really, but I just feel so relieved, but kind of like, oh God, it's okay, I don't need to carry that anymore. You know, it wasn't really real, because I was kind of I've just been making stuff up because of something that happened 4 years ago. Does that make sense? I'm not even sure whether that makes sense. Oh, I can't hear you.
Oh, mute, sorry.
I think I can just feel your emotion, and when you say I can't put it into words, you don't know how to describe it, but you did a beautiful job. It came across. I think we all got a sense of what you were saying there.
Certainly. Bless you, love, and bless you, mum.
Yeah. Because what's interesting is the stuff, I thought I wanted to write a book about women's health. And what I've ended up writing is a book of poetry. And some of the stuff that's coming out is, my dad was an alcoholic and it was quite abusive, and I've written poetry about him, and I've written stuff about some of the things I went through with my eating disorder and all this kind of stuff. And also something that Lisa said earlier was, I can't remember the words to it, but it was like, if we have that thought, if we feel like we need to say it but we can't, it's because somebody needs to hear it. It's something like, that's how I heard it. And I've been doing videos, and I've been wanting to do videos for like years, but thinking, oh, I can't because I don't know enough, and I wouldn't be good enough, and all this kind of stuff. And all of a sudden, a few days ago, I started doing videos, and I've even set up my own YouTube channel, which was like staggering because technology completely just, confuses me. And I'm finding sharing all of this stuff is so amazing, because in fact I've gone from being terrified about it to loving it. And so what Lisa said helped me like go, oh, maybe I'm sharing. In fact, I know I am, because I'm sharing it because it's somebody wants to hear it. In fact, somebody commented on it yesterday and said, this is just what I needed. I'm going to save this and listen to this again. And so it's like, so it's the right time for me to do it. I've been thinking I needed to do it for years, but no, now is the right time. And the poetry is helping me, I don't know, see stuff. And so it's like, yeah, it makes sense to me in my head. But again, but it's like everything's like slotted in, and it's like, oh God. And then the two things that you and Lisa said today was like, yeah. So I just feel like it's really okay. And the stuff they have given me to be where I am now. So it's like, that's like actually quite cool.
No mistakes, love.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds like your mum wasn't in a good place either.
No.
Bless her. Thanks for sharing that, Beck. Lula.
Thank you.
Thank you, love.
You can see how, in the same way, when I changed through learning the principles, it really freaked my family out for a while. And some of the things that have taken place over the last 16 years being around this, there's been times when my family were, what are you doing? Have you lost your mind? And I've had to get really comfortable now. It's still taken a while to follow what makes sense to me, because I've always wanted to have approval and please people and not do it wrong. And it is sometimes quite scary for other people around us when we step out of who they think we are. We stop doing what they think we should be doing. And
I think it was like that when you and I got together, wasn't it?
yeah, and I think that just the kindness that we can kind of find for the people, because it must be unnerving to suddenly see this person who you thought was this kind of person suddenly change. And I think it's sometimes, like I spoke very briefly about it the other day when Rudy and I were going through our separation. I went and did a Vipassana in Nepal. I thought it'd be a really good idea, and after 3 days I was like, I cannot be alone with my own mind right now. This is really uncomfortable. It was a terrible idea to do a silent 10-day retreat. So I had to tell the nun that I was going to leave, and you sign up, really, you're supposed to do the 10 days. And she was so kind, and she asked me a few questions, and then as I stood up to leave, she just said, Jenny, and so I turned back round and she said, I hope you find the courage to do what you need to do. And I think It's almost like she saw in me how I had this internal battle between doing what I knew I needed to do and what everybody else wanted me. It seemed everyone else wanted me to do. And I think that's been the beauty of this understanding, is like you're guided more and more and more by your own truth, that truth that unites us, that isn't really personal actually, but how it guides us in our life shows up different. And
that's how it's been, because it's like I've been surrounded by all of my family and some friends that have really been so, no, you can't do this, no, who do you think you are? And then I've spent, obviously I think with lockdowns really helped me, because I've had a lot of quiet time to myself, and that voice that's inside of me has just managed to be slightly louder than them. But there's been moments where I've thought, no, really, I am crazy and I should be sectioned.
No, you're all right, love. You're facing a challenge in life. Why the fuck are we putting people on wards who are facing challenges in life? It's not an illness. They're not physically ill. Hospitals for physical illness. I'm not saying if somebody's putting themselves at risk, don't put them somewhere safe. Cool. Psychological illness is a misunderstanding of the nature of mind. Mind can't get ill. Thought can't get ill. Consciousness can't get ill. I think so many people live in dishonesty with themselves. I remember saying to Jen when we got together, look, I could see she was in a flux. What do I do? I'm married. My family want me to stay with Rude. I don't know whether I want to be with you. Or I think you wanted to be with me, but you didn't know what to do.
Don't want to let people down.
Didn't want to let people down. Perhaps I should be on my own. I just remember saying to Jen, look, whatever you do, I'll respect. Whatever you choose, I'll respect. I just want you to do one thing for me, please. And I want you to be honest with yourself. Because if you're honest with yourself, you are then honest with the world, and the world knows what to do with honesty. If you're deceitful with yourself, you are deceitful with the world, and the world will bring you more deceit, more suffering. People will act in a way that isn't congruent with what you truly want. I mean, we have to understand honesty. Honesty changes. Honesty is as much part of the illusion of life, but here we are in the illusion of life, living it. I want to live the illusion of life. I like living in duality. It's fun. It's a game. And I feel like the more you find yourself, the more honest you get with yourself, and the more you know, you see it for what it is. People, I've got a friend who rang me up the other day and his missus said something to me. I said, keep an eye on that honesty in that moment from that person. I bet it changes. Changed. Honesty is our truth in the moment, but it's born of thought, so therefore it has to be illusory. Comes and goes. I honestly fucking hate you right now. I honestly didn't mean that. But the more we get in touch with ourselves, the more we let go of the baggage, the more honest we can become with ourselves, the more honest we become with the world. And if more people were honest with themselves and said, you know, I don't want this job, I want to do something that makes my heart sing, there'd be happiness brought into consciousness, which would help change the world. Change that life, change your family, change the world. In the Lost Chapters of Thomas, it's one of my favourite quotes. He says, Jesus, how do we best serve God? Jesus being a man knowing that all things are God. He said, Just do that you love. You are God. How do you best serve yourself? So no, respect, Beck. Sometimes it takes courage, to be honest. Many people lie because it's easier. It's never easier in the long run. Honesty is the greatest gift. If you could have a relationship built on honesty where you can just speak to one another openly. Oh, what a relationship you create. But one built on honesty and understanding. Understanding of the nature of life and honesty is what a gift. No, respect, love. Good luck with your book. Look forward to reading it. It's very brave. Thanks, Lula.
Anybody else?
I'd like to ask something. That's all.
Yeah.
When you were talking, Jenny, you've said it here as well, but when you were talking the other night as well about you had a few days where you just felt like shit. I'm trying not to ask for like a life hack, but I know one's coming, and I'm trying to be really clever, and so you can't tell I'm doing it. But no, but what I'd like you to speak to is something that basically I used to be a compulsive overeater, and I used to be absolutely massive. And before I get to 19, 20 stone again, I'd really love to sort of maybe ask this and see what you think, and maybe just stop and try and not figure it out, but just rein my eating in a little bit. I went on a webinar the other night because I looked up like an eating coach, and I asked a question on there, and I think you said something today, Jenny, about you just felt a bit numb. And I think that's how I am at the minute. I'm just numb. So, you know, that snow globe metaphor where you can sort of, all the thoughts are there. And if you just stop shaking it, the thoughts will go at the bottom. Well, I didn't particularly feel any thoughts, but it was foggy. It wasn't clear. So I knew there was something going on. And this lady said to me, oh, you've got parts of you that are unresolved, and that's all it is just parts of you that are unresolved, and we can work on that. And I've kind of backed right off because I've thought, oh, hold on a minute, this seems to be like delving into and making a big thing about these parts. And I'm just wondering where your understanding is with the 3 Ps. And you know, when we go off and we do something that, yeah, overeating's not the worst thing I could do, but I don't want to do that to my body. Feels awful. and I don't really want to do it. So I'm not quite sure what my question is. Do I just wait until the bubble pops and I come out of it? Or is there some nice self-talk I can do? Like, what do? Do you literally just wait until you wake up and go, which is what you said the other day. You just like, you came back. And it's like, oh, wow, I'm back. I don't want to be 19 stone and come back. I still, do you know what I mean? Yeah, anyway, I'll shut up. I think I've said enough. Yeah.
He eats more than me. Really?
I think what I've always found to be helpful about this is seeing that whatever the behaviour is a symptom. It's not the cause. Like, overeating isn't the cause of your discomfort. I've heard it described by Bill Pettit, who's a psychiatrist, does a lot in addictions, is it's your solution. Like, you're using food to feel better, you're using food to have a different experience. And the only thing that changes behaviour is when we have insight or new thought around something. But I know that when we focus all of our attention on the thing that we do not like, and we want to change it, and we think there's something wrong with us, and we don't like it, and we don't want to think about it, and we need to get rid of it, we're giving it more and more and more attention. And the only answer is to look in the opposite direction to what that we kind of instinctively want to do. We want to look at it. We want to make overeating or whatever the addiction might be the issue. But we're downstream from the problem, from the cause, and the cause will be we're in a false split from source. There's a discomfort we're trying to fill with food, and the split from source is the illusion. We are connected. We are this universal mind, and like Dave said, I eat more than you a lot of the time, and there is times when I'm like, bloody hell, I don't know what, I'm not even hungry and I'm eating. I'm already stuffed and I'm having dessert. Like, but that used to be such a problem for me for such a long time, and it feels the more relaxed around it all I've become, the more it kind of just moderates itself. And I think because you've got the experience, you've got the memory of what happened before, oh my goodness, I got all the way up to that weight, you're even more freaked out. You've got all that thinking, what if I go back to how I was before? And we're suddenly out of the moment, and this thing that's just, I've eaten a bit too much today, becomes huge. And it's suddenly this massive problem in our mind. And then we start thinking, oh God, I've got to find the part of me that I've got to fix. And I think if we can keep going upstream and before, that common sense, that regulator exists in us, and we can learn. But I think it's almost, you've taken a memory from the past and then you're running into the future. No wonder you're freaked out right now. You're like, I hated it when it was like that in the past, and oh my God, I'm heading that way again. You're busy in your mind, and we then busy our mind even more trying to figure it all out. So that's why it's always in the opposite direction to what we think it is. We think this is a problem, I need to sort this out, rather than, I've got a lot on my mind right now, I probably need to leave it alone. Like, some of the stuff that ran through my head over that 3 days, I'm like, where did that come from? Some of it was stuff that I used to think years ago, really negative stuff. And I was like, I was kind of more intrigued by it. It was not nice. It's not saying I felt peaceful throughout it at all. But I was really intrigued that my mind could go to such places still. And it looked so kind of convincing. But there was that observer within me that knows that the name of this game is change. It's a constant change and flow. We're not stuck. And I think there's been a few people asked about blind spots and things like that. It will be something that we're not seeing. It'll be thought that hasn't revealed itself to us, and we're just blindly acting out of it. I always love, there's a man called Julian who shares as part of the Tikkun Center, and he came across the principles, and initially he was a bit resistant, and then he had a big insight around anger, and his relationship started to change. And then at one of the conferences, I hadn't seen him, and over that period of a year since I'd seen him, he'd lost kind of half his body weight. And he talks about he didn't even think weight was a problem. He'd always been overweight, even as a child. And he said there was a moment where in the middle of the night, he'd got up, he felt hungry. He said, I went to open the fridge door. And he said, and this thought just came into my head, this is what you've always done. You've gone to food. Even when you're not hungry, you've just gone to food. And he said he just saw it for what it was. And he said he started eating more sensibly, started exercising. He said, I didn't have to do it. He said, like, the insight changed my behavior. It changed the course of my life. And I get why you say, like, we want the life hack. Yeah, no, I just want to skip to the end and get to the bit where it feels easy. But I know that the insight that comes to you will probably be very different to what happened to Julian. It'll be different to what happens for me.
That will be your life hack.
But that will be your life hack, and it will come from within you. But I think at the moment it's just your head's in the past and the future, and that place feels scary because they actually don't exist. They don't exist. The past's gone. The future hasn't arrived. It will not arrive. And when we come back to this moment right now, you're just sat on the sofa on a call with us. You've had Jessie on and off your lap, and you can see, like, right now you're all right. You haven't gone up to 19 stone, whatever you said, whatever, I can't remember what you said. You're all right. And I think it's very easy to look for the fixes from someone else, and I know that you said it in your question, but I think you might be, the idea of sitting around waiting, like there's nothing to do, something might occur to you. Yeah. I don't know what that is, but just like you often say, be careful the difference between there's nothing to do in terms of this is already up and running, it's how life works, and do nothing. Because
they're two very different
things. They're very, very different.
Many people think, oh, the principles is nothing to do, but that doesn't mean do nothing. No, there's nothing to do with the principles. We are mind, consciousness, thought. There's nothing to do. You can't do anything. But you use that to create your life. You use it to do what you want to do. They're not two things to be confused. I just want to ask you, Claire, because you said that somebody said, oh, you've got an unresolved thing. Where and when would this unresolved thing be?
Well, she was talking about the past, I think. She wanted to, because I'd said something like, is this not just the ebb and flow? Like relapses, because that's how I feel like this has gone on for a few weeks now, overeating ridiculously. And she says, oh, this is, she was just so, and I think because she was so confident in knowing the answer, it kind of went, oh God, I've missed, what have I missed? What am I missing? I just kind of got into that thing that you were saying, Jen, that, oh, well, I'm overeating a bit now, and then I'll not. And then I might again, and then I'll not. But when I was on this call, she was like, no, I know exactly what that is. You've got an unresolved part of you, and that needs to be listened to. And I was like, oh, right, okay. She was just so sure.
May I ask you
Say that again, darling.
A question. How can the past make you eat something now?
Well, that just seems absurd, doesn't it? can't, can it? And that's why I'm wondering, does she know something that I really don't?
I wouldn't say so, love. The moment we think we are affected by the past, we are living in victimhood. All our responsibility is taken off ourselves. We are not in control of our lives. Why? Because we're dictated by the past. The past does not exist. Where is it? Look around you. Where is this future and past? Where is it? How can it possibly make you open up the fridge and eat? So, if that's the case, what is it that's truly making you eat?
Well, I know, well, Jen said it. As soon as she said it in my head, I was like, yeah, that's what, because I don't want to feel the way I feel. I want a different, I want to be in a different state.
You know, we all have thoughts we find uncomfortable. They're not information about what to do. You think you're feeding the thought. I'll do this. This is what addiction is. It's belief in thoughts. Addiction is a thought process, not a physical thing. It's not an illness. It's something that can be overcome in a moment. It's something sometimes maybe needs a bit of, it's all born of awareness. It's just disappeared off the screen. Not him.
Got 3 people with their hand up, that's why it moves around a bit.
All right, okay. It's all born of awareness. I see, yeah, now I see that, yeah. So sometimes we get urges to do things, and sometimes we just have to sit it out. Your feeling isn't giving you information how to be in the world. It's giving you information about what's running through your mind. It's a reflection. It corresponds. It's like a shadow. Whatever shape the thought takes has a corresponding shadow behind it. And it can't be any other shape than the shape that it's cast. We think something like eating or drugs is something bigger than thought. It's not. Where's the addiction when you're not thinking it? That's macular. Where's your addiction when you're not thinking about cocaine? Where's your craving? Where's your behavior? Well, it doesn't exist. When does it exist? The moment I start to think about cocaine. It's a thought. Creating a feeling, what we call a craving, that you feel powerless over. No, just misunderstand it. That's really controversial for a lot of people. Have a look at it. The past cannot make you eat anything now. The past can't even make you unhappy now. You can think about the past now, but it's a thought now. Fresh thought born in the moment. Every single memory is a fresh thought born in the moment. We're not victims of the past. We're victims of our own beliefs, which is a thought. We're victims of not being aware. It's all thought, all of it, the whole thing. No difference. All thought. The whole game of life is one of thought. The whole of reality is thought. without any exception whatsoever.
I'm going to go in the order that it's on our screen. So Mary, I think you put your hand up first, and then Kim, and then Barbara.
Okay, I just wanted to say that I've been 19 stone as well. Not too distant past. It's crawling off, slowly but surely. But the last time I shared about my daughter, I got obviously quite upset. Not because of that, I think it was because of the sharing. And in the first break, I went straight to the fridge and I got something out to eat. And I wouldn't say I've never done this before, but it suddenly dawned on me that that's my way of coping with a feeling I don't like. But I know people have told me in the past, yes, you overeat because, you've got a feeling you don't like. But it came up straight in my face. And I could see it for the first time. I do this every time. Every time I get upset, I go and eat something. And I'd known it here, but I hadn't known it here. And it felt different. Whether it'll make a difference, I don't know. I'll probably forget and do it again. It certainly didn't stop me eating. But the awareness was there that hadn't been that strong before. Put it that way.
The awareness was there. The awareness. The first step of 12-step. Become aware you've actually got a problem. That's it. Awareness. Don't think we need many other steps than that. It's beautiful. Thanks, Mary love. Bailey love.
Hello, love. So I was just kind of noticed what you said when you said she was so sure, so I doubted. And I got there, I was just like, there was all these like social workers, really educated people. So I'm in the middle of it going, oh, I don't know shit. But at the same time, there was something else inside me going, this is a load of rubbish. They're talking shit. They don't know what they're talking about. Have these people been through anything? And that was in my mind really a lot. And they looked at people like they weren't healthy in the first place. I mean, they looked at people like they were damaged, and they didn't really kind of see that there was a whole belief about we can self-heal. So from the counselling, because my mum was really suffering with clinical depression, agoraphobia, and all this other stuff. And was really not well for a very long time. So it kind of sent me on this search, and then I found NLP, and then I found hypnosis. And so I'd come home and I'd try out all these things on my mum, bless her, she's here now. And I kind of really saw that I was going against what I really thought, because there was this innate belief within me that we know the answer. So I didn't want to be the expert. I didn't want to say to people, oh, I know what's wrong with you, therefore I can fix you. Because there was something very deep in me saying that wasn't true, because I knew that I wasn't broken. And all of my different experiences, I knew that I wasn't broken. It was like deep, deep inside me. So when we get like an expert that really knows everything, they might be an expert in what they think, but they're not an expert in you. And when we come and we look at someone, we elevate them, like even with like principles people, we have a really bad idea of elevating people. All principled people lose their shit. There ain't any of them that just walk around feeling happy all the time. And if they're telling you they are, they're not, because they're all going to lose their shit about something. Because we do, because it's part of that human experience. Do you know what I mean? So all I wanted to say to you is, if you listen to you, deep in you, that source has got the answers for you. Nobody else has got that answer. You have it. Yeah. So I just wanted to say to you is that sometimes when we elevate people, we kind of forget about what's inside ourselves, and that's where we need to be. So I just wanted to share that with you. I mean, Mum's not ill no more since she found this stuff, all right? Right, David. Take it away, son.
Love that. Love that, Kim. So true. So true, love. Perfect. Raha.
Hello, just a second, I'll put a scarf on. Yeah, hi. Sorry. Can you hear me? You're in my ear.
Turn it off.
Yeah, we can hear you fine, love.
Hello, hi. Yeah, I just wanted to, actually I've forgotten what I was going to say. Oh yes, about, and you kind of touched on it, which was that we're constantly having different thoughts that we don't pay attention to. You know, like, I need to get up now, and we don't. We stay in bed for 10 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever. Or, I really shouldn't have some more cake, and we do. So all the time we're either listening to our thoughts or we're ignoring them. But what happens is we get stuck about certain thoughts and think that those thoughts are really, really important. And I need to work on these thoughts in order to make myself better so that, you know, I can stick to my diet or whatever. And as soon as we kind of get it that all the thoughts are actually all the same, and no one thought has more weight than the other, I think it might make things a bit easier, or, you know, it will just kind of land on you. Well, that was my bit.
Love. I love that. I think, Paul, that was one of the things that really hit you. Yeah, so you put a heart up for that one as well, dude.
I didn't know you could do that.
No, that's very clever. You put a heart up for Raha. I think it was one of the things that really hit you was you saw that your addiction thought or your suicide thought was the same as, what flavour yogurt do I want? It's all born of this.
Sorry. Yeah, it was the yogurt. The comparison to the yogurt flavour choice. Because I tried killing myself in mid-October. And the next year, Claire, who was on the screen, came down to see us, and we went for a drive and a cup of coffee, and everything was absolutely perfect. I was laughing and carrying on and joking and flirting, and everything was like really. And I turned to Claire and I said, like, I don't understand. I went, yesterday I was adamant and convinced that the only thing for me to do was to kill myself, to go. And that, I was so confused as to how the next day I was feeling absolutely like tip top. And then on your retreat, I brought it up with you, and you said that it's just a thought, and it's no different to thinking what flavour yogurt am I going to have, and I'm like, fucking hell, like God, right? Yeah, it was a thought that I acted on, like when I've used drugs. It's a thought I've acted on. Yeah, so thank you, and just the last two people that have made comments that have shared really like sung true. Thank you.
Can I just add something? That are they our thoughts? Meaning, if they are really our thoughts, most of us would want to have only nice thoughts, right? But if they're just thoughts as opposed to our thoughts, then it's okay that we have the thought to have more cake or more whatever. You know, I don't have to pay attention to it. It's just a thought. It's not my thought. I don't own it. And also, it kind of lets me off the hook that I don't need to beat myself up because, oh God, I'm having those horrible thoughts again, you know, all the should have, would have, could have, all that stuff that we beat ourselves up with. And for me, I know, like, I always wanted to be a yummy mummy, and I would really beat myself up because I'm so impatient and I'm shouty and I'm horrid, etc., etc. And then when I realized, well, hold on, actually, I'm doing the best that I can, but I don't have to, you know, all this preconceived idea of I should be like this and I should be like that. That was beating me up more than the way I actually was. And when I let go of that, it was like, okay, actually my real state is patience, right? Everybody's state, their natural state is patience, is joyful, is creative, is resourceful, all those amazing qualities. Each one of us has that. That's our innate quality. And that's our natural state, but for our thinking. And when I understood that for myself, it was like, maybe I'm not so impatient. Yes, okay, I do have impatient thinking. I'm not saying I'm a saint, far from it. But it was like I had a chance. You know, I could be a yummy mummy. So.
Thanks. Down the pen.
Just want to sort of share something that I've sort of heard today and yesterday. So I've been doing some one-to-ones with Dave, and I think on the last time when I last spoke to Dave, I asked him a question. I can't remember what it was. It was something like, when did things really change for him? And he said when he stopped trying, something like that. So I went away from that conversation, and I was continuing to do what I've previously done is try. Kept like energy trying therapy, and I'm trying the principles, trying to do them as if it's something that needs to be done. And I'm looking at videos, this video and that video, and so I heard that from Dave, and then it was later that day on one of the videos that I think it was Rudy on a video, and something got shared like trying is like going to catch the butterfly, and you keep going to catch the butterfly, you can never get it. But when you just stop trying, the butterfly will come to you and it'll land on you. And I heard that differently. And later that day, I was stood at sink. I was just sort of getting on with things and minding my own business, and I had a thought. And this thought was that I don't control what thoughts I have, but thoughts don't control me either. So I don't control what thoughts I have, but thoughts don't control me either. And from that point, I felt a different relationship with my own thoughts. I think this last couple of days, that's continued, and I've really heard this thing of not trying. And Jenny shared earlier about, or it might have been Dave's sister, if you don't like something, take away its energy source, your attention. And I found that to be one of the most useful things. And even yesterday when I was listening to the talk, the retreat, my 6-month-old daughter in the living room making a load of racket, and I had my headphones in, and I became aware of the noise that she was making with the toys. And then I just brought my attention back to the retreat, and the toys and the noise my daughter were making became quieter. Even though it wasn't quieter, it became quieter to me. And yeah, that's just what I want to share with you guys.
This gift of awareness. Beautiful done. Thank you, mate. Cecilia.
Yeah, hello. I'm very glad to be here, and I have been in a few webinar, and I like to listen, and but I always get so much headache, and I know that must be my ego thinking, but I really want to listen and be here, and that's so it disturbed me to have this headache all the time. I want to do this. It's like you know, is it a signal or something to say to me that I do too much? I don't know.
Could you talk a little bit more about that?
I really want to live my life. I have been having a deep depression, and have stayed in a retreat center, and I've been taking a lot of medicine and alcohol, and I have been free and at home for since May month, and I'm going in a course to be a 3P coach, but I think I want too much, too fast.
You opened up, your first sentence was, I want to live my life. What is your life?
I want to be free from the feeling of not have not to be tired in the body, and not this struggling all the time.
I want to live my life. You know, life isn't hard.
Yes.
Life's not hard. Well, it's all right for you to say, Dave. No, life isn't, ultimately life is not hard.
But I feel like it's hard.
I want to make a distinction between the two. See if you can see this. You wake up every single day and you live. It's not difficult to do that. We all do it. Life just lives. Life is you. You are life. You are life. You are living. So is this little fella here. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. He's alive. Life is effortless. It's done for us. We're lived. Life is a mystical, magical event. You are a mystical, magical event. You are a mysterious event. And life just lives. Life is effortless. It doesn't take effort to live. I'm making a distinction. I'm making a distinction between living and what we experience whilst living. The living part's effortless. The living part is the part that is aware of falling in love, beautiful memories of our childhood, being aware of a sunset or a rainbow. Or like my mum came back with the other day, these beautiful photographs of dew on the grass. We can also become aware of habitual thinking, overeating thoughts and suicidal thoughts. I'm making a distinction here. Living is a constant. Living doesn't go anywhere. You've been alive since the moment you were born. It's never gone anywhere. Now, the experience has changed ever since you were born up until this very moment now. We go looking for truth in something that's constantly changing. That's why we never find it. It's why we end up confused. Why we end up lost and despondent with life. Because the moment we become aware of something, something else comes into our mind. Oh, is it this? Is it this? Trying to find ourselves. Trying to find ourselves in thoughts and emotions and feelings and experiences. Trying to find rock, solid rock. There's a thing in the Bible, it talks about the man who built his the man who built his house on sand. Something that shifts constantly, has no foundational structure. It's an illogical place is to build your house on something that is ever changing and moving. Sand. It's crap foundations. That man will struggle to maintain his house. He will struggle through life trying to maintain his house because he's tried to build his house on something that is continuously changing, shifting. But the man who builds his house on rock, the parable about the man who builds his house on rock, on stone, on a foundation that doesn't move, that is ever present, builds a strong house that stands the test of time. I'm making a distinction. We confuse ourselves for something that we experience. That's like sand. It's like the house being our life, our self. We're constantly looking at the experience, assuming that I am this addiction, I am this depression, I am this anxiousness, I am this. No. But when you're not in the anxiousness and you're in the quietness, where's your anxiousness gone? When you're not thinking the addiction, when you're not in the experience of craving, where's the addiction gone? When you're in the peace first thing in the morning, you've just woken up, where's your depression? It doesn't exist. It's like sand. Picking up dry sand, forever trying to find who you are in this thing that you can't keep hold of. It's ever changing. It's illusory. But the person who builds their house on rock, on the foundation, a true foundation, you must find out what the rock is. where to build your life. Life itself is effortless. It's foundational. Don't confuse yourself for thoughts and feelings. Behaviors. You are not a thought, feeling, or behavior. These are ever-changing things. They come and go. How can you possibly be any of them? Or if you are, which ones are you? And if so, why are you them and not them? All our problems come from misidentification.
I also wanted to ask Cecilia, what is it about the principles that has made you want to become a Through Principles practitioner, coach? What was it that made you want to sign up?
Because I've been in the traditional psychology. I can't explain. Yeah, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work talking about future or background, and I like the feeling that we are all the same, and this is a place for all of us to be, and that it's our thoughts that making our feelings.
So it sounds like you've seen the difference, kind of. It's almost like you've heard there's something true in this and you want to learn more. And you said that you like the feeling that we're all the same. And I think there's something in you that's hearing this. So your head might be going crazy and you might still be having depressing thoughts and thoughts you don't like, but there's something in you that's heard there's something here. And I just encourage you at the moment to stick with it, because often it isn't on these calls where people have insights. It might be on a break or on a walk, or it might be tomorrow or next week. But the fact that the reason you want to learn more about this is because you saw that it was different and you love the feeling that we're all the same. And I'd just say, stay with that.
And I saw that they told me that I had bipolar. I don't know in English, bipolar.
Oh, bipolar?
Bipolar.
Yeah, and ADHD. ADD.
ADHD, yeah, okay.
Yeah, but I saw for myself when I was away at that center that wasn't true, and it was when I was really suffering, and it was very dark for me, and I wanted to not to live anymore. And then I saw it for myself that it wasn't true when they told that I had all these things, and I saw that it wasn't true. And I know it isn't true. I have never told myself that anymore after that.
Well
and
done.
I didn't take any more medicine or alcoholic or cigarettes. The only thing I do is eating sweets, but nothing of the other things. I just stopped.
It sounds like you've seen a lot more than you're giving yourself credit for.
It's difficult to explain in English.
You've done a fantastic job.
You've done beautifully.
Just that knowing you're not any of those labels. Some people believe those labels their whole lives. Like you've got on to you recognizing, and you've got more awareness, and that awareness will be what continues to teach you. Like you saw that, you were around people telling you the opposite, but you saw that that wasn't true. You've got this. You've got this inside of you. And yeah, I think you maybe give yourself a hard time. We all get caught up in our heads and have different things going on, but a bit like Dan said, his relationship to his thoughts have changed this week because he had an insight. Like, it didn't come from anyone else. He was just washing up and he had an insight. And that's available to us, and it comes to us. And it sounds like you've already had some pretty big shapeshifters, really, as Lisa would call them. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you very much.
I'm just aware of the time, and I know Margaret had asked, could she finish today by reading an Irish blessing? So I was going to tell her to turn the light on so we could see her a bit more.
You are going to do this without the accent, aren't you, Mum?
I am going to do it without the accent, but I only give that to people who ring me up and try to sell me something.
You understand, Patrick?
This is an Irish blessing. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine bright upon your face, and the rain fall soft upon your field. And may God hold you forever in his arms. Thank you. I did a right mess of that.
Thank you.
Goodbye, everybody. It's been a wonderful day. And what I'd like to say to the lady from Norway is that you're always the expert on your own feelings and your own life. Never let anybody tell you that you're broken, because you never are, and you never will be.
Right, everyone. So we'll call it a night.
I was just going to say, tomorrow's a little bit different because is going to be zooming in from Canada, and I asked her if she'd do the same time Dickon did, but she said she doesn't get up that early anymore. So I've moved the day to accommodate Elsie because I really would love her to be part of this. And tomorrow we're going to be starting at 10:30 rather than 9:30. So I think in Sweden that's 11:30, but yeah, 10:30 UK time. And everything's kind of moved back a bit, and then we'll be finishing around 6.
If you can't afford to donate, again, we just ask, please do something for somebody else. And if you think you have anybody who you think may benefit from this, we're recording it, and we're making these recordings available for people because we know it's a trying time for them, and we want to try and help people find themselves, not bring some ease into people's lives. If you know of anybody you think may benefit from this retreat, then just make them aware of it. Have we already loaded them up?
Not this session, but the ones before.
Yes, yesterday loaded up on our YouTube channel, which is Freedom Thinking. Freedom Thinking. I think they also might be up on our Facebook page, Freedom Thinking. Are they on our website?
Not yet.
Not on yet.
Not that organised.
Website's freedomthinking.co.uk. Yeah, if you know of anybody you think might benefit, give them a nudge. All right. We'll see you tomorrow, hopefully.
Dave?
Who's speaking?
Mark.
Oh, Mark.
Yeah, are we live now, or is this a recording?
I'll lift him for you.